in this country, and in my country, Britain, we accommodate religious expression, and we do make exceptions for people.
And I bet you there were many Muslims in that survey. Most Muslims don't care for this either.
The question is whether or not, and I would ask this of I think everyone in the room who's covered, the opinions of other people also have to matter. It's not just about you exercising your choice. The way other people feel about that should be of some concern to you.
In a highly charged debate that pits cultural tradition against societal norms, Douglas Murray presents a scathing critique of the niqab, igniting a firestorm of controversy. This discussion is not just about a piece of clothing, but represents a broader clash between cultural traditions and modern societal norms. Today, we are diving into this heated debate, exploring the multifaceted arguments presented by both sides and examining the implications on our collective values and social fabric.
Now, our Shalina Litt, a writer and a blogger who's also a child behaviour specialist. I'm also joined by Sahar Al-Faifi, a community activist who's also a molecular geneticist, and Fatima Barkatullah is the director of the Seeds of Change Muslim Women's Conference, the largest of its kind in Europe. Also here are the writer and commentator Douglas Murray, Kola Hassan, who's a lecturer and advisor on Islam, and last but not least, the writer and broadcaster Yasmin Alabai Brown.
As the panel gathers, the tension is palpable. Each participant offers a unique perspective on the intersection of culture, religion, and public policy. Fatima Barkatullah, a staunch defender of the niqab, starts with a compelling argument that challenges biases and advocates for empathy and understanding in a society quick to judge based on appearances.
I think a lot of it is to do with not really being familiar with it. You know, I mean, my message to the British public is that you've got nothing to fear.
Fatima Barkatullah's defence of the niqab is both heartfelt and strategic. She argues that the niqab, worn by many Muslim women, is an integral part of British life and culture. Her plea for understanding is a challenge to confront and dismantle biases that lead to misunderstanding and division. By highlighting its personal and religious significance, Fatima invites a more nuanced view of cultural practices. Douglas Murray, however, offers a stark counterpoint. He argues that the niqab should be banned in certain public spaces where face visibility is crucial. Murray's stance introduces a provocative element to the discussion, tapping into broader societal concerns about integration, communication, and trust. His argument suggests that face coverings might impede the ability to engage in open, transparent interactions, which he views as vital for social cohesion.
Well, I think like a majority of British people, I think that it should be banned in public places, particularly places like courtrooms, where it's absolutely imperative that a jury are able to see the faces of people who are accused. As for an overall ban, I think, look, my own opinion is that niqab is highly undesirable. I think that we live in a society where people do show their faces, where huge amounts of our social interaction depend on people showing their faces. I think that it's very difficult to enforce a ban in public places like streets, but it should be certainly a desirable thing to discourage its wearing.
Murray highlights the practical difficulties of integrating diverse cultural practices within a unified social framework. His call for specific public bans reflects concerns about effective communication and social trust. By emphasizing the importance of face-to-face interaction, Murray questions how to balance individual freedoms with societal needs. So here a question arises: why do non-Muslims have to adapt to local customs in Muslim countries, yet Muslims in non-Muslim countries often resist doing the same? I believe this double standard undermines the principles of mutual respect and integration, suggesting that cultural adaptation is a one-way street. It's time to challenge this inconsistency and advocate for equal expectations of adaptation and respect, regardless of the cultural or religious background.
In public buildings, in courts, in schools and places like this, absolutely, I think a ban would be very sensible. In streets and so on, I think it's difficult, but it should be societally discouraged.
As the debate intensifies, Fatima Barkatullah and Sahar Al-Faifi present compelling counter-arguments. Fatima argues that a ban would be an overreaction, pointing out that the niqab has been worn in the UK for decades without significant issues. She asserts that the real problem lies not with the garment itself, but with a lack of understanding and empathy from those unfamiliar with its significance.
No, a ban, I mean, I think it's a complete overreaction. Look, the niqab has been part of the British landscape for the last 20-odd years, okay? Muslim women have been going about their business. We've got a radio presenter here, we've got a scientist, we've got talented Muslim women who've got a lot to give to this society, who've been doing so and been very sensible about it. When we need to remove our face veils, we do it. But how do you think we get through airport security?
I mean, what
Fatima argues against banning the niqab as a solution to societal tensions, advocating instead for education and dialogue to address ignorance and foster mutual respect. She calls for shifting from punitive measures to constructive approaches that tackle the root causes of division. Sahar Al-Faifi supports this critique by highlighting how negative portrayals and sensationalist rhetoric exacerbate public discomfort with the niqab. She shifts the focus from the garment to the broader social and political context shaping public perception.
You know what, I'm not surprised at all, because when you know that high-profile politicians making such offensive comments and big fuss about it, I am not surprised when the public say they are against it. First of all, let them interact with us. Let us be open and engaging with them. This is number one. Secondly, 80% of communication in the world does not involve face-to-face. Twitter, Facebook, phones doesn't involve face-to-face communications. The issue is the problemization here. It's not existent problem.
I'm sorry.
Sahar's critique emphasizes the influence of media and political rhetoric on public opinion. As the discussion progresses, Yasmin Alibai-Brown and others challenge the idea of exceptionalism, asserting that societal norms should be applied equally to everyone. They question the need for special accommodations, advocating for consistent standards across cultural and religious practices.
I'm sorry, I worked in this area for 7 years, about 15 years ago, and this was not, as you said, a norm. This has been imported and exported for reasons which we haven't got time to go into. We live in a society, in this society, and we live in a country which is very, very complicated. And to shut yourself off as if the rest of us are infections and cutting...
How are we do not
This is the meaning.
We are engaged.
Yasmin challenges cultural exceptionalism, arguing for fairness in societal expectations. She contends that cultural practices should adhere to the same social standards, stressing the need for consistency and equality. Douglas Murray reinforces his argument by highlighting the importance of face-to-face interactions for trust and understanding. His focus on visibility underscores the tension between personal freedoms and societal cohesion, reflecting concerns about how face coverings impact communication and social unity.
Freedom is an extremely important thing, and I think most people who would agree, I hope in this room, that Britain is the most tolerant place in the world to live, including as a Muslim. But let's just add one thing to this, if I may. The issue of social interaction is very important, and not just to me, but obviously to a majority of the British people. What I say tonight, what Yasmin says and other people say tonight, people see our faces, they know who said it. I'm sorry to say this, but nobody knows who you are. They can hear your name, they can't see you. If I say something stupid on television tonight, people know it's me saying it. If you do, with all due respect, you can disappear and no one knows.
No, we're not.
Murray's emphasis on face-to-face interaction highlights the difficulties of blending diverse cultural practices into a unified society. His argument reflects broader concerns about communication and social trust, questioning how to balance individual rights with societal cohesion. So why do so many support banning the niqab in public? Banning the niqab in public places is not just a matter of security and transparency. It's a necessary step to uphold the fundamental values of open communication and equality in our society. I believe by discouraging the niqab, we promote a more cohesive and trusting community, even if it means challenging deeply held cultural and religious practices. The debate becomes personal as Fatima Barkatullah invites critics to engage directly with niqab-wearing women, offering a first-hand look into their lives. Her plea for personal interaction calls for empathy and understanding, urging critics to move beyond theoretical arguments and see life from a new perspective.
I'm really sorry, maybe you haven't really met women in niqab, but I would like to invite you out to my house, you know, you can see my face, we can sit together, we can have a laugh.
Fatima's invitation is more than a strategic move. It's a heartfelt call for empathy and connection. By sharing her personal experience, she seeks to challenge misconceptions and deepen understanding. Her approach underscores the power of direct engagement in bridging cultural divides and fostering mutual respect. As the debate intensifies, Douglas Murray questions the sincerity of niqab wearers, suggesting that the garment might widen community divides. This raises complex issues about balancing personal choice with societal unity.
You have that right. You have that right, and you exercise it, and so are all of the other ladies in this room. But the question is whether or not, and I would ask this of, I think, everyone in the room who's covered, do you think that by covering your face from everyone else in society, you are exacerbating difference or making it less bad?
Mariam,
would any of you at least recognise that you are exacerbating a difference?
Is this divisive?
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to look at human rights, okay? In 1998, there was the Human Rights Convention, okay? Under Article 9, it specifically says we all have the freedom of expression, we have the freedom of belief, we have the freedom of so many things that, you know, like in this country, I thought that's all right.
Can I just point out, there is something fundamentally ludicrous about somebody dressed as you are talking the language of modern human rights.
Absolutely.
What's a bit
Fundamentally ludicrous.
Murray's critique of the niqab brings up a significant tension, reflecting concerns about personal choices impacting community dynamics. Conversely, defending the niqab as a fundamental right highlights the importance of respecting individual freedoms and religious practices. This contrast underscores the ongoing struggle between personal beliefs and societal expectations. The debate illustrates the complex balance between personal freedoms and societal norms. The niqab symbolises broader conflicts and values that shape our world, showcasing the challenge of reconciling individual rights with collective standards. What are your thoughts on this debate? Should the niqab be banned in specific public spaces, or is it a fundamental right? Share your opinions in the comments and join this crucial conversation. The discussion extends beyond the niqab to the principles and values defining our society. Engage with us as we navigate these complex issues, aiming for empathy and respect in our interactions and decisions. Stay tuned for more insightful content by supporting us. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement makes a difference. Thank you for watching.